This work in character strengths comes squarely out of the field called positive psychology. And simply put, positive psychology is the science of well-being. It's the scientific study of positive subjective experiences, which is things like positive emotions, positive traits, which is another phrase for character strengths, and positive institutions. And they led a team of 55 scientists to really look throughout time, across cultures, across nations, across beliefs, to really answer the question, what's best about human beings? So they looked to all of the world religions. They looked to some of the most remote cultures on the planet. So speaking with the Inuit people in far northern Greenland and the Maasai tribal people far off the tourist circuit in Kenya. And they were wondering what is best in your culture, and do you have these particular strengths? And what they were finding across philosophies, across religions, is that there was great parallel across their these experiences, and from those parallels of 6 virtues: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. I'll show those here in a moment. They then looked more closely to derive 24 character strengths, which they use particular criteria to determine what are the qualities that make up wisdom or courage, and what constitutes one of these positive traits that are in human beings. And so they use these criteria to establish that. So a character strength has to be something that's measurable and has to be ubiquitous. So it can't be bound into any one culture. So it can't be something like achievement or ambition, since those are more traditionally Western-bound traits. So the idea here is that this wouldn't be a Western classification, but a universal classification, a classification that describes what's best in any human being. And so these were some of the other criteria that they looked at. Is the quality, the strength trait light? Is it culturally valued? Is it fulfilling? And so on. And what this amounted to is this common language of strength. So these 24 strengths. So you see the 6 universal virtues that cut across religions and philosophies on the left column, and then the 24 strengths that met those criteria to the right there. But let's put all of that together into a definition for everybody. So we might think of this work like this, that this via classification of the 24 character strengths and 6 virtues really represents a common language of personality traits. So these are traits that are part of our personality, part of the core of who we are. And really then they reflect 3 things, or they lead to 3 things. They're connected with 3 things: identity, positive outcomes, and collective good. And so there's different research camps that have defined flourishing in a number of different ways. I'll say the most simple way, which is that flourishing is really having strong psychological well-being and strong social well-being. Of course, there's many subpoints to both of those, but that's the simplest way to kind of put it. So having high well-being on these different levels. By the way, research of people in the United States, it shows that less than 20% of people in the United States are flourishing. So, of course, that also saying that that 80% of people in the United States are languishing, going through the motions in life, not really at their best, not really performing with especially high well-being. One of the latest theories is that there are 5 main well-being areas of flourishing. And so this was offered by Marty Seligman. And so we have the acronym PERMA to describe those 5 areas. So PERMA: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievement are each independent pathways to flourishing, independently measured. Interventions can be created independently with each of them. And so scientists are studying each of these kind of collectively and individually. Now, I want to make a distinction around character strength mindset. And so how do we think about how people change and how we can impact people with this science of character? So there's this metaphor that we can think about this as clay versus seed. So do we think about people and our subordinates, our supervisees, do we think about them as lumps of clay to be molded, or as seeds to be kind of watered and nurtured? Okay, so the most important topic in, I'll say, positive psychology, certainly in interventions, is signature strengths. So these are the strengths that are highest on the VIA survey. They're strengths that are most essential and core to who you are, most energizing and easy for you to use, and easiest, effortless for you to bring them forth. There's a particular intervention that's particularly strong, and that is to choose one of your signature strengths and use it in a new way each day. And that's been shown to boost happiness and decrease depression for as long as 6 months.